because the other one decided not to. And they asked, how come you don't want to?
No, that thing is like that, son.
They need to be better, man.
I know. You know, sometimes I think 2.5 or something. I know. I wish I had the one with the turnip. You know, get that one next. Yeah, that one we want to get. Yeah.
You have to be confident of that choice too, because they're gonna be like, oh, you're not listening to me, and that's like, no, I heard what you said, and I'm putting it in practice, but I'm putting it in practice from my situation, because everybody's different, and everybody's different, every situation is different.
Sometimes I realize that like,
If you're working through your latest one, you don't have to jot down a 2-page resume.
why are you going through so
You
much?
have it. The reason why? All right. She's like, has a car and so we're gonna have people to try to explain what their dating resume looks like. And I know some of you guys are married. And we're back to one voice, guys. I know some of you guys are married, so I guess it doesn't apply to you, but it's always good to refresh yourself. Things that you still are continuing to work on yourself. Because remember, marriage is not the end. It's just the beginning. And then every day you start relearning about this person that you married. So it's never the end of everything. So, Tessicara seems to be finished with hers, and we're going to hear from 2 to 3 people. And yeah, we're going to have 2 volunteers. Seems like you were raising your hand, Tessicara. Were you volunteering?
I'm done.
Oh, okay. You want to start? And reviewing. Just show me, some of the things that you have put on, like objectives, skills.
Okay, I'm gonna send to you. This is like resume when I was 26 years old. I cannot put it now because I have put it in my divorce. So, when I was 26 years old, I joined the Mix Master, which is a dating pool. Honestly, it's $50 per month. And this is what I do. And I'm honest with you. And I told the guy. Anyway, so with social media, there was no social media then. It was just the telephone. And then my education, I told them my bachelor. What did you mean? I told the guy on the telephone whenever they call me. Now it's your opinion, right? Then it's a telephone, so I was honest with them. You know what's my time? I said, my time is not on praying. I love to watch TV, I love to read books, especially romantic books. I was honest with the guy. I love to shop, I love to work experience, a simple nursing job. What I need to work on, I said, I have to work on my duty. Because I'm very, very inferior. I have a very big inferiority complex. So, people said, beauty is great. So I said, okay, I have to work on that. Within me. I'm very honest. What's my objective? Naturally, I was 26 years old when I applied for that Miss Master. So I told them that to me, the guy was married. I was very, very upfront. Moderately interesting on whom? I said on guys, not serious to get married. I'm not really interested putting my time on a guy that's not seriously to get married. Is there something wrong about that? I don't think so. But my skills, making friends. I have lots of friends. My favorite, spiritual books, history books, romance books. Did I date a lot of people? Yes. Were they serious for me to get married? Yes. Were they honest people? Yes.
All right.
Because of honesty, communication is the best when you go into this kind of dating pool. Did I expect this? Did I expect? No. What I expect is to meet a guy who will be really serious in a relationship. If it's not serious, I'm so sorry, but
I like
I'm
that.
upfront.
No, thank you for sharing. I really appreciate that. Yes. Great volunteer there. And who is the next person? Who would like to share? It doesn't have to be the entire dating resume. It can be something that you just put in there. That you're like, hey, you know what? About my time.
And to tell you the truth, I had fun. Really fun. Oh, I was treated like a queen. Believe me. Men, they will treat you the way you want to be treated. You want to be respected, they will respect you. It's the way you carry yourself. Did I have fun? Definitely.
I think it's important to have fun while you're single. You should not rely on another person trying to make you happy. You should, I love the description you gave there about the jumper cable, because you yourself, you have to have self-awareness of who you are, the things that you like, the things that you want for yourself. You shouldn't be figuring out those things after you get involved with someone in a relationship. You should bring that to the table, because it's important for you to have a good sense of self-awareness and also to be able to stand up for yourself, and have a good self-esteem. Not depend on anybody to make you happy. That's additional, And while you're single and you are looking for that person, take advantage of having fun, having a good time. Because, the dynamics change after you get married. Then it's a whole different ballgame, as Henry can attest to, and his wife, right? Seriously, because it's not about you it's about making a home now. It's about starting a family. So the dynamic is different. And so that's why it's important for you to be able to feel good about yourself, bring that to the table, and while you're waiting on that right person, enjoy your time. Being single.
I like that, and just for that, I would like to share my objective because it makes sense that we are, and I always say I just recently said it to Abigail. I was saying, I like my peace. I don't want, sometimes I just go home and there's nobody there. Sometimes it's quiet and it's annoying, but sometimes it's just quiet and it feels great. And let me have myself in 9 days.
Exactly.
And just eat whatever you want, cinnamon bun or ice cream, and I literally watch a movie or a documentary or whatever. It just feels good. And so my objective, I did my dating resume. I cheated a little bit because I did it earlier. So I have a picture here. I have a natural one and not a natural one. So I decided to, read to you guys my objective. So as a woman of color in the IO psychology field, dating has been a struggle for me. I'm looking for someone that is open to having fun and being spontaneous while allowing something between us to grow as a couple. So it's not about all seriousness. Well, it is about seriousness when it comes to growing together, but just to have fun still being young. And sometimes, I'm 29, but I feel like I'm 59. I'm sorry for those who are 59, but just because
You're very mature. You're much more mature than your age, and I told you that before.
yeah, thank you. But I don't want to feel like old. I guess I feel like I'm catching up with my wisdom age, and I don't want to. I want to just have fun. And so I want someone to teach me how to have fun. Because I don't travel. And the only place I went, is here, which I landed, and Dubai. And that's the only place I travel. I want to really travel. And that has been my wish. But I also want to wish to learn how to cook, and really cook, not just cook because just to cook to survive. And I also want to be open with someone, being really open, not being scared that the person might judge me. And also being, because I feel defenseless most of the time. And again, it goes back with practices, experiences, and your culture. I want someone to understand that from me. There's a reason to all this kind of thing. But I want someone to allow me to explain my truth so they can help me dissect those truths together. And those are the real things that I'm looking for to a man, ultimately. So, anybody else want to share? We can go on to wrap up tonight's event. One more?
Come on, guys. Come on, ladies.
Come on, a man. Yes, Nick.
Well, I'm not really sharing. I just wanted to ask. Do you guys want to hear a Disney story really quick? Yes? No?
What did you say?
Do you want to hear a Disney story? No? Okay, she says no. A Disney story. Okay. I'm going to say it regardless. You can cover your ears. So, we were born about less than 2 miles apart. We went to the same school in kindergarten. And when we left Haiti to come to the States, both our parents happened to be in the same city, right? And we go to the same church growing up. So it's kind of crazy that we married now. And I share this story because it's like sometimes we put limits on who we want to date, right? I know them, I know their family, I don't like the friendship conversation that was mentioned earlier. And on these objectives, I think this resume is great, but I think sometimes that also put a limit to who you want to date, because I remember in my dating stages, I had like checklists, right, on who I wanted to date. I wouldn't date anybody that's less educationally less than I am. And there has to be potential, right? So over the years, I learned that it's better to look at the potential of someone than look at where they are right now, right? Because you're not dating. If you're in courtship, you're not gonna court somebody so that they can stay where they are. I like the building example, right? If all you see is where they are, you don't see where they can be, then you're dating wrong, because as time goes, that person will get expired and you're gonna wanna move to the next one. So I think the objectives really should be where do I want to be and where do we want to be together. So that it's not a matter of who, it's not a matter of color, it's not a matter of friendship or not friendship. If the person is right for you, if there was any label limiting that, I think it's best to just drop those labels and move on with that person.
I really like that you said that, because earlier on I asked you how far is too far. So people tend to have their checklist, and she meets 4 out of the 5, but really need that 5, not going to date her anymore. So I love that you said that, because when we initially asked about your non-negotiables in the last time that we met, people were hard set on their non-negotiables. They're called non-negotiables for that reason, because I'm not going to negotiate. But what we sometimes don't realize is that we change and we grow. So what we thought might have been something that we were steadfast on yesterday might not be the same way we view it today. So yes, there are values, there are principles that we need to follow, right? There are biblical principles. There are values and morals that God has taught us. So no, we should not waver on those things. But to your point, you're not going to find the 5 out of 5 on your list, or the 20 out of 20 in some people's list, or 100 out of 100. But you will find many of the things that you're looking for, and you will find potential. So how far is too far? You need to ask that question to yourself and answer it for yourself. But basically, you need to be open to seeing potential in people and being a builder and knowing that you're meeting a builder and someone who you can grow with. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, you know what? I have a co-worker. She's a nurse, already a very professional nurse. But she is being courted with a man that is only a transporter, right? So to her, it's like, oh, he's just a transporter, and I'm already a nurse like this. But I told her, you have to look at what he is to become. installed in being a transporter. And then after 5 years, he graduated, he had a boarding job, he became a very stable radiologist in a hospital. So there's nothing wrong in being a transporter, you know, there's nothing wrong in that. But you have to look at the guy, what he said, you know, his potential, and what is it to become. If he will be a good a married man later on, you know, you don't look at him now. You always look at what will be after 5 years. What will he become after 5 years? That's what
I mean, in addition to what you're saying, you also not only look at that person's potential, but that other person has to be able to allow you to reach your potential as well.
Yes, yes.
Because you don't want to have a partner that's only wants to keep you where you're at, but they want to keep growing and not allow you to grow. So that's where you have the building. You want to grow together.
Yeah, not one way.
I think also that,
Vicky, can you
want the,
raise your voice?
yeah, you might want the person to become, right? But what if the person doesn't want to become?
Then
What
that's
if
it.
the person is already, you know, so you accept, sometimes you might have to accept the person for who he is.
Yes.
He's happy the way he is, you know, and if you have no problem with it, you have no aspiration higher than what he can achieve or what he wants to achieve, you know, it's up to you. You take him or you leave him.
So that brings to the point where sometimes what we think we are bringing to the table does not align with our expectation of others. That idea that we have that, okay, well, we have all the lists, and sometimes I may not meet that list, or that other person may not meet that list. That doesn't mean that it's out of nowhere. No, it all depends. If that's one of your non-negotiable, and I know someone of you said, no, I'm not. It's not an icebreaker. It's not a deal breaker. It is what it is, or it is not. Or sometimes it's, you know what? If that's all, I'm okay with that. Some people have different perspective, and that's okay. But if it does not align with what you bring to the table, then don't expect the other person to bring it for you. You know, because you need to start with yourself. It all starts with yourself. That vending machine, invest in yourself first, and then you start hoping to see somebody else doing the same thing. So when you guys come together, you guys can build up eventually at the end. And so I want you guys to be mindful today. The content of this event is to really be truthful about yourself. Every day we find out about who we are, because we did not come to this world with no scratches. We have scars, hidden scars that have not been really hashed out. Those who went through a serious relationship and it didn't work out, or a serious friendship and it didn't work out, and then that means that there's a lot of things that need to be kind of talked to God about, like those conversations, self-reflection every day. And once you realize there's more to it, there's more flaws than you realize, then you don't hide it for the sake of keeping yourself as saint. Everyone knows we're not a saint. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that when we do have this conversation, when we do have dates, or then it becomes courting, that this doesn't become, oh, by the way, here's my baggage, or after like a year or 2 years, you allow the people to see this. This should be almost at the first stage where you allow people to say, hey, this is what I can bring. You know, let me know what you think about it. Not at the altar. You don't say, oh, by the way, I have 2 kids back at home. You know, you don't want to say that. So we want to we are hoping that we're true to ourselves, but also when they are true to themselves, to you, that you're trying to be open and non-judgmental. We're not trying to make them feel like, hey, you know, you have X, Y, and Z because you bring, like, remove the speck out of your own eyes before you, somebody finish that quote.
Before you review the beam.
The beam, yeah. I thought it was some type of wood part. So you remove the beam of your own eyes. So this idea of not being judged, because at the end of the day, if you judge someone, God will judge you. And it's not fair for us to treat someone else any different than how we treat God, because ultimately that person, Uncle Joe, Michelle, Dell, they're all God's children. So if I hurt you, Abigail, I hurt God. So we have to be mindful of that. We have to be non-judgmental, and we have to be true to others, and allow people to be true to us without rejecting them because of our own beliefs. Let our beliefs be the last thing in their mind, because then that's how they block themselves, that's how they close back. And then for the next person, they will never share because of the previous us. It will be our fault for them not to share in the future. So let's be mindful of that. And I wanted to make sure I have the last one from Janice, if you have any.
Well, I just wanted to end on a lighter note and share some of those pickup lines. So I'll go first because I see that we don't have a lot of people willing to share. But if you have something funny you want to share, please feel free to add. This is not mine. I got it off the internet, but I thought it was funny. It says, I was reading the book of Numbers the other day and realized I don't have yours. Does anybody want to share? Go ahead, Michelle.
I want to ask some of the married couples, like what did your husband use on you? Like, you know, what?
How did they get you?
Yeah, how did they smack you? Yeah, I want to know Henry. What did you do? It's not necessarily pick up lines, but like what do they do? Yeah. And maybe you might confirm or but any of the, you know, like what do you use?
I don't ever use a pickup line. No, for real. Because that goes to the thing. I always date my friends. So I don't ever have to use a pickup line ever in my life.
There has to be a time where it's going from friend to more than friend. Like what does that look like? What does that conversation look like? You know, I've been watching you, you know, and I think you might be the one. How did that go? You know, something happened. You didn't just jump from friends into, you know.
We were dating, and he was a little bit, he was older than me, and kind of like settled, a little bit nervous to get married, kind of like past that stage. I'm a Filipina. He never dated anyone like my color, my race. He's a little bit skeptical. But after a year and a half dating with him and courting with him, I know my self-worth. I know what I want. I know my value in self. And I said, my self-worth is I have to be I have to be married. I don't like this kind of dating and courtship and everything. I'm valuable than being dated. You know what I mean? I'm more valuable than that. I have to be a wife. I want to be married. If you don't want to, get off. And you pick it up.
Yeah, mess around. Speak her mind.
You have to know your value. You have to know what you want. And it's going to stay in that forever, and you are suffering. To me, I just don't want to be quoted forever.
That's right. Put a ring on it. That's right. Put a ring on it.
Are you kidding? I said, you gonna marry me or not? If not, because I know my value. I'm not a woman just be dated forever and ever. Oh, no way. Oh, no way. I know what I want. I know my self-worth. I know my value. Remember that. All of you, remember that.
Let me say something. When I was younger, I wanted to get married, but I couldn't meet a young lady that really wanted to get married. I met a lot of young ladies. They were so independent. They were more concerned about traveling, their jobs, their careers, going to school, or whatever else they had. So they weren't that interested. So as I got older and started to hit 30, in my early 30s, I started to get independent too. I started, I'm going to be independent like the ladies. You know?
That's right.
There were so many of them, you know. And then when even I joined the dating service, and they were pretty much the same. Well, they're not your type, or I met somebody. Sorry, we can't go out anymore. You know, it's like, wow,
Shut you down, huh?
just take it easy, you know, lighten up, and you know, they say if things gonna work out, something will work out for you eventually. But usually if you wanna get married, you have to date, and by dating, you meet different people, and that's how you eventually get married. And then you meet Horace.
Uh-huh.
That's from the Philippines, they're like very aggressive.
I want to. Oh.
clarify something because I'm hearing you guys talking about multiple dating, and I hear my children just say official dating, you know, and then there is like 40, yes. So like before the official dating, the guys are trying to see to whom they're gonna be interested in, or their personality is more compatible with, right? So I hear some of the ladies were saying that, you know, don't lead us on, you know, because we girls are different, right? But I want to share to you that in the Philippines, maybe in the old times, you know, that girls are being courted, right? So you have about 10 men coming after you, telling you they like you, they want to go out with you, okay? So now, if you see that guy courting another girl or going to another girl and also taking an interest, you don't like that. Meanwhile, you have 10 men interested in you. And so I think that is so unfair because the man cannot go look for another girl to say like, oh, okay, I'm gonna have this choice, this selection. Meanwhile, the girl says all the guys coming to her and she has a choice, you know. So this is like, you know, it's so unfair, you know. So I'm hearing you guys and I'm thinking, you know, I said, wow, you know, it's so different. I don't know how really it's dating here because when my husband and I dated, it's not like, you know what, I think men has more, what do you call this, they tend to look more, you know, and they have all their selections, you know, here in America, I think, you know, but women, as you said, you know, you just wait for the man to come after you know, to tell you that they like you, they want to go out with you. You know, it's not like you can, I don't know, in our time, it's not like we can be upfront to tell a man, hey, you know, can we go out on a dinner or something like that? You know, so I don't know now. You know, but I'm saying that, you know, there's other stages of dating. You know, so don't get your hopes high so much. And the guy especially is just looking around to see whom they will be interested with. You know, because you can also look around, you know, and select, you know, oh, okay, this guy is interested in me, then you can also like select which one will be more compatible with you.
Dating is,
Yeah. Go ahead.
dating is select, collect and collect, then select. And then when he selected you, that's the time he'll court you. And then if he woo you, he likes you. I don't know when is that, I'm always asking when is the exclusivity falls into the picture here. Because dating is, to me, collect and collect, then select. It's fair, it's a fair game, you know? As long as you don't really expect of, you know, nowadays you guys, they bet the person, you know, like they have sex and this and that, you know. But no, you have fun, select, you know, collect and then have fun in dating, and then the courtship, and then the engagement, the betrothal, you know. That's how a relationship should be. It shouldn't be like a rigid thing. Oh, I'm dating now, and now I saw him dating another. He dated another girl on Saturday. He dated me on Sunday. He dated on Monday. I don't like it. It doesn't work that
I
way.
have a question. So does the girl have to wait for the guy to be the one to approach her, or can she take the initiative to say something to someone? Wait a minute. Can she take the initiative to tell someone that she's interested in him?
Okay.
Nick,
Yeah.
Nick.
That take first the question, because I answered your question earlier when I said I don't use pickup line. You asked how they start. It starts with this person right here, okay? So we were friends, and I was in a relationship, whatever. But because our friendship were, for whatever reason, was taking steps, I don't know why. So I kept on praying, right? I kept on praying to God, and God, what are you doing? I'm in a relationship, and at the time I was ready to be married. Okay. So I'm like, God, what are you doing? What's going on, right? So and I put a deadline. I'm like, if I think the deadline was November 26th. I know because it's 2 days after my mother's birthday, right? So I'm like, if that deadline passed and she don't make a move, I'm moving on with my
She to make a move?
that was my prayer to God. So on my birthday on September 7th, she calls me that night and kind of like pour everything out, and I'm like, okay, God, you answered my question, and I sent a text to everybody, dropped everybody, and
The answer is, it's okay for the
yes,
lady to express an interest to the man.
yes.
And you know what? This is going to be a topic that we're going to go in detail next month on March 27th, Leap of Faith. Now the thing that you were talking about, but obviously, Leap of Faith, but about when it comes to courting or even dating, the way we hear dating, which is collecting data, but courting. After that, how do we take a leap of faith to pursue, to move on to the engagement process? And so that's a good way to close tonight's event. I thank you all for coming. I think we have learned a lot tonight. And I want you guys to just take away at the end of everything, it starts with you, and then it ends with we, but the we, need to be equal at all times. And in order for that to happen, is we have to be truthful, and we have to be open to hearing them out. The reason why they do certain things. No one is perfect again. And at the end of the day, the expectation that you set for yourself is the expectation you want people to also meet. But the time that we perhaps want to renegotiate, if your preference is to, that is fine. If it is not, find a way that you make sure that there's expectation that are non-negotiable is what you have as well. Because we want to make sure that we model what we're trying to preach. And so thank you for all for coming. And I wish you guys safe back home. But before we close, we're going to have Clive Henley close out for us. Our ministry leader.
Okay.
All stand?
Have all the insight that we got, Father God. I want to say thank you once more. May you protect us all as we go to our destination safely. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
They can finish as you